What's up, everyone? What's up, Steven? What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
What's
Welcome
going
to
on?
another episode from space
Yeah,
and from the United Dressing Room.
yeah. It's like
It's
completely two
if
different
only
things.
if only space communication from the Earth was so easy, so seamless.
Yeah, I know, right? NASA should be taking down some notes about how we are doing this right
Yes,
now.
yes, NASA. There is no progress that you guys are doing.
Exactly.
Look at our
Yeah,
podcasts.
yeah,
From the time we've commenced, we've amassed
yeah,
41 subscribers.
yeah. Exactly.
That is what you call progress.
Yeah, and we are doing it in one person is doing in space, and another person is doing in dressing room of one of the biggest club in the world. So
Yeah,
there's that too.
you might want to watch us.
Yeah,
Watch out for us.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, Elon Musk, we are coming for you next. Yeah. So, okay. Anyways, let's move on with the sporting news. And that is, Stephen, I think you have some cricket news before we move on to football.
Yeah. So like everyone knows, Mumbai won the IPL, which
Mhm.
is, at this point though, it's not even a surprise that Mumbai won because Mumbai was. Did you see the finals? Did you
No,
at
no,
least watch
no.
one match during the
No.
entire IPL? Did you at least catch RCB's game? Not
I
even one
think I
game.
think I saw them now
Shame
get
on
knocked
you.
out. Now get knocked out in the tournament. Yeah.
Shame on you. I might do this podcast alone. I might
Yeah.
want to do this podcast alone because
Yeah.
Dhanush
But
puts
it doesn't matter,
absolutely
dude.
no efforts.
It doesn't
Dhanush puts
matter.
absolutely no efforts into cricket.
It does. See, like I would watch I would actually watch like some of the RCB games like in the previous IPL because there was the crowd, there was that intensity, that charisma into each games coming into it. There was that excitement. But now there are no
Hmm.
crowds. There is no like the hype behind the IPL. It just doesn't exist in this year. I don't know why. I mainly
Hmm.
think that it's because of the fans and the way that people talk about it, and it's
No,
going
it's
on
only
India.
because you don't watch cricket at all. That's the only
But I don't
reason.
feel it like even in
Because
my house, dude. Like
because
even in my house.
contrary to your opinion, I think this year was the year where IPL attracted a lot more newer audiences
Yeah,
because a lot of them are working out of their home spaces,
exactly. That's what I'm
and
saying.
a lot of them, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good, right? Like obviously there is that added advantage for the players that there is no euphoria around the stadium,
Mhm.
which usually happens when in the presence of crowd and all of that stuff. That is not there, and probably one reason why that is sort of enhancing the performance of athletes across any sport, not just football or cricket.
Mhm.
So this was a good time for a lot more people to understand what cricket is in general, for people who don't know, who absolutely have no idea about what cricket is or what IPL is, but have been sort of been around in that atmosphere, which is part of the IPL hype culture, right? So when the IPL season is on, that hype is always around, across the streets. The word is always there on the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about it. Like you
Mhm.
are, directly or indirectly part of that hype culture.
Yeah, yeah.
So you like, it was a good chance for people who don't know about it, at least just to catch a couple of matches and see what the hype is all about.
Yeah, yeah.
IPL is so interesting and entertaining, man. Only for the masala, not masala. Only
Yeah.
for, like, truly for the entertainment it provides for that 4 hours. It's so entertaining because in like during the entire course of that 4 hours, you see high octane action, edge of the seat, thrilling matches,
Mhm.
and that's probably one reason. It's a very shorter format also, right? Like,
But
and
still,
you
for
get to
4 hours
see
is not a short
countless
format.
number of sixes. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you get to see countless number of sixes. I mean,
Mhm.
a lot of the matches that goes down to the wire, to the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
ball. So that's one reason why people love it so much. Anyway,
Mhm.
so getting back to the final, so it was quite. I think it was, the odds was completely in favor of Mumbai. It
Mhm.
was, I think, the bookmakers would have had a field day because
Mhm.
I'm sure all of them had put their bets on Mumbai.
Mhm.
I never thought. Not, I mean, if you're a cricket fan, you would have definitely written off Delhi, because Delhi did play well, but Delhi, in this IPL, I think they lost all their games to Bombay in the league stages,
Mhm.
and they played the quarterfinal. I mean, they played the semifinals, wherein, so IPL has this weird system. I hope you know. So four teams qualify for the playoffs.
Mhm.
The first playoff match, whoever wins that game goes directly to the finals.
Yeah, 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 that I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the person who loses that game plays a second qualifier or eliminator or whatever we call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's where SRH lost. SRH won against RCB in the second playoffs.
Mhm.
RCB got knocked out of the tournament,
Mhm.
whereas SRH had to play Delhi again
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make it to the final.
yeah,
Okay, so I felt that was hardly undone for them because
yeah.
SRH was, in my opinion, was a better team than Delhi. But Delhi did play well throughout the entire tournament.
But that's a
But
pretty
I'm sure,
system to have in, right? Like when you talk about knockouts, that's a pretty weird system to have it in because I don't know any
yeah,
other sports.
I don't understand the logic.
Yeah,
I don't understand the logic of having a qualifier and an eliminator
yeah,
within the semifinals. Doesn't
yeah.
make any sense to me at all. Anyway, so getting back to that, Delhi were a pretty good team throughout the IPL because they were there in the top two. Across the group stages, league stage matches, they were always there in the top two
Mm-hmm.
positions
Mm-hmm.
of the tables. And I think it was a deserved final, but
Mm-hmm.
it was very, very clear that Mumbai is going to take the team. I mean, take the trophy because they are just too strong.
Okay.
They have an insane team.
Okay.
Insane is not even the word
Is it
because they have
is
the
that
best
because of the
bowler in the
money?
world.
Is that because of the money that they
Maybe
have?
it could be, but Mumbai has been pretty smart with their business decisions, right? They
Okay.
have managed to retain the right players over the course of the years,
Mm-hmm.
and even the domestic choices, even the players, uncapped players who they have, seem to always click somehow. I don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
They just managed to identify the right talent, and they have a fantastic captain in Rohit Sharma,
Mm-hmm.
right? Rohit Sharma is a superb and an astute captain. He relies a lot on data, unlike
Mm-hmm.
a lot of other captains. That
Okay.
man is so data centric, and he makes a lot of decisions revolving around data. And he's very smart. He is a very very astute captain.
Okay.
So almost on the level of MSD.
Mm-hmm.
Kohli is known for his aggression and the spirit he brings along with his captaincy, but not for the level of tactics and understanding of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
That credit goes to Rohit Sharma, and that's one
Mm-hmm.
reason why Mumbai has done so well under his leadership.
Okay.
And this game was pretty one-sided from the word go because I
Uh-huh.
think Delhi won the toss and they opted to bat, and they
Okay.
lost I think 3 wickets under 6 overs or something within 6 overs.
Whoa.
And their captain Shreyas Iyer, who's again a very good captain
Uh-huh.
and one of the future batting prospects of India.
Mm-hmm.
So he managed to get a good score for the Delhi team, and only him and Rishabh Pant played well.
Mm-hmm.
All the others were pretty much, I don't know, they got out for a very cheap scores. But Delhi
Okay.
did manage to post a total of around 155 or something,
Uh-huh.
which I think Mumbai chased it down very easily. So Rohit Sharma, again, he was the standout batsman as he
Mm-hmm.
scored almost 70 runs. I think he scored somewhere around 68 or something.
Okay.
And yeah, they easily won the game. They won the game within 17 overs or 18 overs or something.
So does that
With
mean it wasn't as exciting as it would be like any other
no, it
finals?
was a very boring game. It was a very, very boring. I was expecting
Mm.
a very high octane, thrilling game,
Yeah.
but this was a very boring. Turned out to be a sour one
Uh-huh.
because it was from the first ball of the first innings. It was clear Mumbai was going to win
Okay.
because
Okay.
Mumbai got the first wicket in the first ball of the innings.
Mm.
When Delhi opened the batting, when they played the first ball, that was a wicket.
Oh.
Yeah, so they were pretty good. They were pretty good throughout the tournament. They have world-class players.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the players Jasprit Bumrah, right? Bumrah,
Yeah,
no?
Bumrah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Bumrah, my God, that guy, dude, he's not even human. The way he bowls, he is
Mm-hmm.
easily the best bowler in the world at the moment, and
Oh.
it's so good to know that he's an Indian, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Some of his balls are just unplayable, man,
Okay.
unplayable.
Uh-huh.
You cannot even play. He consistently balls at a speed of 145 to 150 kilometer per hour.
Oh.
And the variations he has and the intellect he has, he is
Uh-huh.
just too good. Too
Okay.
good of a bowler. He is very difficult to play.
Like an
So
all-round
because
package.
like a proper bowler he is.
Mm-hmm.
India, like if you followed cricket from a very long time,
Yeah.
India's had this history of having very few fast bowlers who are damn good,
We
who
had a
are
lot
of a
of good
world class
spinners, right?
capability.
Not any
Yeah,
not
spinners though we've
not
always had.
yeah, not a lot of
Pace
fast
bowlers
bowlers.
quality pace bowlers we've had in the
Yeah.
past, but not on the levels of the Australian bowlers or the South
Yeah.
African bowlers,
Yeah.
right? Bumrah is that premium quality. Bumrah is
Mm-hmm.
better than some of the best Australian bowlers we have today in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of immense pride for us, right?
Yeah.
And because every ball of his, like when he bowls 6 deliveries in 1 over, each of
Mm-hmm.
his ball looks like a wicket-taking ball. That's how
Okay.
good he is.
Oh,
That's how
okay.
good he is. And Rohit Sharma uses him perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout those 20 years, he uses him
Yeah.
correctly. That's one reason also again which you contributed to Bumrah's success and Mumbai Indians success. So Mumbai all round they are a very good team. They have
Mm-hmm.
brilliant wicket keeper. They have a good wicket keeper. They have brilliant openers. They have good, very good batsmen. They have
Mm-hmm.
very good bowlers. Everything they have superb.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the crucial factor for Mumbai success is Bumrah. Definitely Bumrah.
Okay. He's kind of like the
Yeah.
Malinga that Mumbai Indians had when
Oh,
he was
dude, he
playing
is
for them.
miles ahead of Malinga. He is.
Oh,
I mean, Bumrah is as important to Mumbai as Messi is for Barca.
oh my
You
God.
get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like that, and
Mm-hmm.
like it was clearly shown his impact. Like so, I think so. Mumbai, when they were playing the league games, they had already qualified for the semis, and they had one more match, which was
Mm-hmm.
just for the sake of it they could have played. Okay, even
Yeah.
if they had lost the match, they were already in the semis, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Uh-huh.
So they decided to rest Bumrah in that game
Okay.
so that they could prep him up for the semis. Bumrah didn't play that game, and Mumbai lost that game. Only
Okay,
that
okay.
game he didn't play, they lost that game.
Okay.
They lost it pretty badly also.
Uh-huh.
So that goes on to tell the impact Bumrah has, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, nice,
Yeah,
nice. So he's like one of the most crucial player in the team.
for any
Mm-hmm.
team which has Bumrah, that team is exponentially much better, significantly, much better than their opponents.
Yeah, yeah. I think
So
RCB.
For India, it's a blessing
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
we have him.
Nice, 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 nice. So all in all, do you think this IPL season was maybe as good or even better than the last season compared to like the
Uh,
you being a fan?
I've experienced much better seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a fan of IPL.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And this IPL also, I think I watched almost all the matches.
Mm-hmm.
All the like I think I've binged on almost all the games that happened every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it was okay, but I wouldn't say it was as good as maybe the last season,
Mm-hmm.
because this season also had lots and lots of boring games.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the reason is, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's that advantage that players have, that there is no audience at all.
Mm.
Because in cricket at least, though, I mean it definitely matters if audience plays a factor,
Yeah,
if the
yeah.
audience are there in the stadium,
Yeah, yeah.
because when you're in your home ground, the entire stadium is rooting for you, and there is pressure
Yeah.
on the away team, right? So this
Yeah.
time none of that sort happened. If you're a strong team, you're pretty much expected to win the game, and that's what pretty much happened in most of the games.
And also
There were
like
very
with
few games.
and also with cricket, I feel like I mean the reason that it dampers the IPL because there are no fans is because even though it's a T20 cricket, it's still a 4 hour, 5 hour game where there are a
Hmm.
lot of of course there are a lot of sixes where there are a lot of high action moments over there, but at the same time it slows down, it again starts back up again, slows down, starts back up again. It's not like football where it's always going on for 90 minutes, and then there's
Yeah.
one half time in the middle and then again it goes on, or even like maybe you could say the same thing for any other sport. I wouldn't say that for tennis, but there are very few sports where it's like it's there for only 30, 40, 50 minutes, 1 hour, and it goes on quickly and gets
Hmm.
done. But cricket is not like that, just
Yeah.
like how baseball isn't like that, even
Hmm.
even basketball is not like that. So that kind of makes it boring if there are no fans there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. So
Makes
I feel
sense.
like yeah, that's what this year's IPL I feel like wasn't as exciting as the last year's.
Yeah, but statistically, was supposed to be. This year, I think this year's IPL was supposedly one of the best IPL in terms of
Yeah, yeah, of
stats and
course.
figures and
Yeah,
numbers and
yeah.
all that stuff,
Of course,
because
I mean,
of
everyone's at
the
home, right?
yeah,
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
because of the astronomical rise in viewership and all
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that
yeah. Yeah, of course, of
stuff.
course. Yeah, that's been going on with every single sporting events, social media platforms. It's increasing drastically in this pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with that, let's move on to football. And there were some good games this weekend,
Yeah.
especially like some good games. I mean, first of all, let's talk about the big game that was in the week, and that was City versus Liverpool.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it, and I found the first half very entertaining. The second half I found it very boring.
Yeah, all in all, the game was like not that, like it didn't live up to the hype that
Yeah,
it was supposed to
yeah.
be.
Because see, if you historically, if you look at big name games, right?
Hmm.
Sort of mouth-watering clashes like the City Derby,
Yeah.
or I mean the Manchester Derby, or the United Liverpool matches and
Hmm.
United Chelsea games,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
All the top, any top six teams battling it out with each other.
Hmm.
Those games, I don't know, like this is my perception, have turned out to be boring.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's maybe because both of the teams adopting a similar strategy, trying
Hmm.
to see out goals,
Hmm.
trying to keep goals and trying to defend as much as possible. Okay,
Hmm. Yeah.
like even like you take the example this season itself. Aside, I mean, only except the Merseyside derby, which was between Everton and Liverpool,
Hmm.
all the other big name games was a dud.
Don't
Man
forget
United,
Tottenham versus
Arsenal.
United.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was a
Yeah.
one-sided game. You
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
that? Nobody
Yeah.
expects that in a mouth-watering clash or a big name game.
Yeah.
So well, that was a one-sided affair. You look
Hmm.
at Man United Chelsea. It was such a stalemate. It was a boring
Yeah.
stalemate.
Yeah.
Man United Arsenal was a boring game.
Hmm.
And what else? What else? There were other games, right? Some other games.
Mm.
It was quite boring.
Arsenal and Liverpool. That was like a good
That was a
game.
3-1 victory.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a
but
good
but
game.
still
Yeah.
kind of not as good as everyone expected it
Yeah.
to be.
It wasn't as exciting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, but historically, City
Yeah.
versus Liverpool have always been a blockbuster
Yeah.
affair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you look at the past games and all, it's always a high-scoring game. There's so
Hmm.
much action involved. There's so much drama involved,
Yeah.
and all of that is there. So automatically, you expected this game also would be on the same line.
Hmm.
But this game, first half, you saw that glimpses,
Yeah.
because City was constantly attacking. Liverpool also were constantly on the edge. So there
Yeah.
was that high intensity action going on in that first half. But second half, though, the intensity completely dropped
Yeah.
off because I think
Exactly.
both teams adopted a very defensive strategy and they were
Yeah.
not just attacking at all.
Exactly.
So yeah,
And
they could
like
have easily had more goals,
yeah,
but
and
none of that happened.
yeah, and I would say that in the like, of course, in the going into this match, Liverpool didn't have Van Dijk, and the main thing in their mind was to not concede goals because they knew that City coming into this match they had some momentum going, so they could
Hmm.
score some goals. And
Hmm.
City, they just want to get back to how they play, how good they are, just going and destroying every other team that comes up against them.
They can do that because in
Yeah,
the first half
exactly.
they had that potential.
Yeah, so actually that's what we saw, right? In the first half, both teams went about it to see how much, I mean, how many goals they can get, and then in the second half, they got to know, okay, this is the quality of the team, right? We have that we have right now. City are not so solid in the back, but at the same time, they're very good going forward. Same thing with Liverpool as well. So I felt like both team and even both the coaches decided to just sit back and make sure they defend the deficit that they were in, both of them, and just try to
Hmm.
get a point, and then just move on to the
Yeah.
next games.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
Hey, it's also got to do with the fact, I think it's also got to do with the fact that it is just 2020, man.
Yeah.
2020 being 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things you expected it to happen never happened. I
Exactly.
mean, it is clearly 2020 when De Bruyne, of all people, missed a penalty.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Oh my
Who would have
God.
imagined
And
KDB,
that
of all
he
people, would have
didn't
missed
even
the
hit the
penalty?
keeper. He didn't even hit the keeper.
Yeah,
That was what was
it wasn't
surprising.
a shot on target. It was
Yeah.
outside.
Exactly.
KDB, who's one of the best midfielders in the world. I think probably the best midfielder in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
Who's so good with shots. You name it. You name a quality, he's good at that.
Yeah.
Right? Him missing a sitter of a penalty was just absolutely shocking. It could have been
It's
easily City's game if
exactly.
they had that penalty converted.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many weird moments. Like, Jesus scored for City, which, I mean, he came back from an injury, I think,
Oh,
and they,
that was a
yeah,
beautiful goal, by
that
the
was a
way.
really good
It
game.
was
Yeah, really good goal. And Salah got on
again.
the goal
It
again.
was this guy's assist, KDB's assist.
Yeah, exactly. So there were moments where both teams looked like they could gain an edge against each other, but again, like in the second half, both of them tried to play it safe.
Hmm.
Not trying to concede a goal, and it was like
Yeah.
kind of a letdown. Considering the
Like that
hype.
that attitude of theirs when they go full guns blazing and
Yeah.
they play that fearless brand of football that was
Exactly.
missing from both the teams in the second half.
Exactly. So it was
And
kind
by
of
the way,
disappointing to watch that.
Trent is injured and so is Joe Gomez.
Yes.
So I don't know what the fuck is Liverpool gonna do this the
They
rest of the
are
season.
so screwed.
Their only centre back is Joel Matip.
Yeah.
And that new kid, whoever played, what's his name? Some Williams guy. I forgot.
Yeah. And they don't even have a backup centre back too. Like, of course, that's it. Which
They
is so
have
crazy.
I think they have a few kids on the block.
Yeah.
Because I think who did they play? They played Sheffield before this game.
Yeah.
And they I think they employed a new kid.
His name is Nathaniel
from the academy.
Phillips.
Nathaniel Phillips. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Phillips.
But still, like, dude,
and he was pretty good. He was pretty good at that game.
You can't expect a young kid to go out and play the season. Yeah.
Correct.
And also, they don't know like what's the extent of Joe Gomez's injuries because he just went into surgery, and we'll get to know about how serious his injury is.
I don't know how long is Trent out for as well.
Yeah, exactly. So Liverpool this season, I mean, that's why they're gonna go looking out for a defender in the January transfer window. Like basically, a lot of outlets are saying that they're possibly going for Upamecano.
Yeah. I think they might end up signing him.
Yeah, might, because I mean, if we are targeting anyone and if there are any other clubs looking at the same target, we are never gonna get that target. That's just how it is with United.
Not at least with the management and the manager we have.
Exactly. Like, that's for sure. Like history has shown us, we can never trust United whenever it goes after a target. So yeah. Yep. So speaking of United, like the 3-1 victory that we got from Everton.
You saw the game?
Yeah. Actually, no, I didn't see the game, but later on I came back home and I saw the entire game. So
what a beautiful game, no? Oh, I'm so happy we played so well.
But the game actually felt like the same kind of gameplay that we did when Bruno came into the club, where Bruno was the one who was the catalyst, and everyone were just running around and trying to the opposite team. There was no like proper tactics in the team. Like no one had like you have to go here, you have to run here. Like how Klopp and Pep set or even Bielsa set their teams up. Again, there was nothing like that. It was just that Bruno was the catalyst for pulling the strings everywhere on the pitch, and he got us the win. Other than that,
it was all Bruno.
Yeah, exactly.
He was everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
That man was just, I don't know, he was just doing a Kante where he covered the entire ground.
Yeah.
He was like, when you know that, when you get a hunch that there might, this might be an attacking proposition and this might, this might result in a chance, Bruno is involved in that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the game went by, and kudos to Bruno, man.
And also you have to think about the fact that Everton came into this match where they lost their last 2 or 3 matches. And
they played really well in the first half.
Yeah. And also Everton, like they didn't have their proper full strength team where they were winning in the beginning of the season. Like they didn't have Richarlison, who you have to say, even though he sometimes miss shots and doesn't pass the ball, he puts in that work rate into the team. He runs up and down the pitch.
Last season, he was easily their best player.
Yeah, exactly.
He was their best player.
And clearly they missed him. And if Richarlison was in the team, maybe you never know. Maybe we couldn't have gotten the win. Maybe Everton could have won the match.
No, I'm not sure, but I think we did play well because they had James, they had Luka Dean back, and they had Sigurdsson as well. They had decent players. They had Calvert-Lewin. All of these players they had. And even Bernard was damn good, who scored the first goal for them. So they had a pretty good team.
Such a stupid goal. Dude.
Yeah, that was a poor goal.
Yeah, that was a poor goal. Oh my God. When I saw that,
it was a good shot, but we could have prevented that.
When I got a notification saying that the Everton scored a goal, I was like, oh, okay, now Ole is gone for sure. Ole is done. But then again, dude, we have spoken about this, right? Like Ole.
Yeah, I think we can't help but mention it every episode.
Yeah, exactly. Like the moment he gets sacked, he was about to get sacked, he gets a win. It's ridiculous.
But I think he's going to see the end of his career at United.
Yeah.
Mostly by the end of this year, he might see his way out.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of United, we'll get to. I have some news about United and some transfers going on, but we'll talk
We'll
about them.
cover the other games,
Yeah,
other
exactly.
matches.
And also, like one thing that I have to mention, like Cavani got his debut goal, right?
Oh, that was a wonderful goal. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Bruno
His
could have
first goal.
easily
Yeah,
gone for that goal
yeah,
to get his hat trick, but
yeah.
was so unselfish of him to
That
assist
shows he's a
Cavani.
proper leader. Proper leader. You know, that's
And a
one of the
team player,
quality.
and
Exactly.
and a proper team player.
Exactly, exactly. And it was a beautiful finish by Cavani, like a poacher's
Cavani,
finish.
yeah.
Yeah,
Happy for him.
proper finish.
Although I'm
Yeah,
not a big fan of him. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not at all a fan of him,
yeah,
but still happy for him.
yeah. I'm okay with him. He brings in that experience. Maybe he could help the young forwards right now that
Yeah,
we have,
yeah.
because there are so many controversies going around. You know, with Mason Greenwood. You know,
Mason
news.
Greenwood, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, news coming in saying that in training he was being very lazy and all, and Bruno actually gave him a proper yelling at him, and there was some
Mm.
scuffle going on between both
That
of them.
that might, I don't know, that might put Bruno on the heat map for like amongst players.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I know that he's trying to, sort of bring the team together and trying to be that leader figure in the dressing room and all that stuff. But I
Mm-hmm.
think too much of all of that will put you in hot waters with the players, and
Yeah.
the player, like when I know that you want to be respected amongst the player and you want to establish your footprint in the dressing room. But
Mm-hmm.
I think too much of all of that will sort of make you just a bully amongst the player
But also
amongst your
this
own
shows,
teammates.
this kind of shows that like how the management is so weak. Like, this shouldn't be coming from a player like in the team, especially if he's not the
Yeah,
captain. If the
if
captain is
if it was Sir
elevated,
Alex Ferguson, he would have stepped him and slapped his
yeah,
face, saying that no, you
exactly.
can't do that. But I
Yeah,
don't think nobody is doing it for him. So and only because of that, he is stepping him and
yeah,
taking the initiative.
exactly,
But
exactly.
I think he needs to get his foot off the gas and
Mm-hmm.
calm down a little bit and not just be upset about everything. Because
Mm-hmm.
even when you see him play, right, he's just upset even if there is one mispass. Like you can't be like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
true. That's
mean,
true.
you can because there is nobody in the team who does that, but
Yeah,
not all the time. That doesn't work all the time because that will
yeah.
only make you look like a taskmaster in the eyes of your other teammates.
Yeah, but there could be so many reasons. There could be a reason where because the management isn't strong enough, they are not like properly disciplining the players around them, and the players are just too lax. They're just like we'll do what we want to, you know,
Hmm.
yeah, stuff like that. But again, yeah. So yeah. But anyways, we'll come back to some of the news that with United. But there are some two games that I want to talk about, and that is Arsenal losing to Aston Villa 3-0, dude. I'm
Oh
surprised.
man, did you see the game? I saw the
Yeah, yeah,
second half. I didn't watch the
yeah,
first half. I
yeah.
saw
I
the
saw that.
second half. Dude, I mean, it's okay if we don't sign anyone, just sign Jack Grealish, dude. Just
Oh,
sign
he's so
that guy.
good.
How good
So
is that
good.
guy?
I'm telling you, right? I told you like when we were, before the transfer window ended, he's
Yeah.
really good, dude. He's that one English player who's not hyped properly for what he does.
Mm.
He's
Yeah,
so
that's
good.
true. That I agree with.
Yeah,
I because it's surprising because exactly the same time last year I was at a different opinion.
yeah,
I completely was thinking that the hype around him is just overrated and he is definitely overrated
yeah,
because because yeah, he does look pleasing to the eye. He did look pleasing to the eye last time, but he lost the ball lots of time, lost positions a
yeah.
lots of time and all that stuff. But this season he's just completely turned it around, man.
And I
Every
feel
time
like
he has the ball on his feet,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it looks like he's going to create a chance out of it.
And I feel like one of the main reason for that is because he has better players around him right in this season, so he can actually
Hmm.
play at his
No,
finest.
I think the team is built around him.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Could
is
be,
the
could be that
crux of
too.
the team.
Yeah, could be
He is
that
the
too.
crux of the team
Hmm.
because every time there is an Aston Villa goal. I mean, a lot of people say this, and I'm just reiterating that point. Every time
Hmm.
there is an Aston Villa goal, even if you're not following the game, if, for example, FPL players, every time, okay,
Hmm.
he's a very good FPL asset as well. Every time there is a Aston Villa goal and you see your live score, you expect Grealish's name to be there, like
Yeah, yeah,
his name to be there in some form of involvement. It can be a goal or an assist.
yeah,
You know that Grealish is involved in that goal. That's how
yeah.
important he is to the team. Every
He
time he has the ball,
yeah,
it's and the way he dribbles, the way he passes, it's just so easy on the eye. He
yeah.
makes it look so easy. He's like this lazy dude, who courses through the team.
Mm.
He dribbles so beautifully on the eye. It's so nice to watch him play.
And also the way he plays kind of resembles how Aubameyang plays for Arsenal. He starts off on the left,
Hmm.
and you never know whether whether he'll continue down the left or whether he'll come into the middle. So it's very difficult, and also he's so good at dribbling as well. So you can't even put carelessly try to tackle him, because you
Dude,
might
he is the
consider foul.
in EPL. I think in the last 2 seasons he's the most fouled guy.
Yeah. And also one of the most the most dribbles in the league as well,
Yeah,
compared to every
yeah,
other player. I think the only player who
yes,
is close to him is Traore, I think, from Wolves.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So yeah, but again, it was so surprising for me to watch. Like we lost against Arsenal so badly, and then Aston Villa just came in and
Well, again, the
screw
logic for
you.
that is it's 2020, and this Premier League season has been, I think, the most unpredictable season in the last 10 years at least.
But I have to say, Aston Villa do look really good, because like players that have McGinn, Barkley, they are just dictating that midfield. And
Yep,
Ollie Watkins too. They signed a really good championship player into their team, and it's
yeah,
really properly showing like he's actually putting in a lot of goals for them. So it's good to
right,
see.
right.
Yeah, and also I
They
feel like,
did.
yeah, I think Partey got injured
Go
in
ahead,
this
go ahead,
match
go
as well,
ahead.
right?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think so. Yeah, Partey got injured in this match as well. I think so.
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Dude, and I don't know what Arsenal's plan is.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just don't understand what Arteta is planning to do. I know that he has a system in place and he has tactics,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it is him or the players. They are just not able to execute it, right?
Mm.
And Oba, dude, barring that goal from a penalty he scored against United,
Mm-hmm.
he's gone 5 or 6 games
Yeah.
goalless.
Yeah.
That has never happened to Oba in the last 5 years. I
Yeah.
mean, the last time he went 5 or 6 games goalless was in 2014
Yeah.
when he was playing for Dortmund,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
This just goes on to show like what a shitty tactic you're at least employing with respect to Aubameyang. You
Yeah.
have to play him as a central striker in place of Lacazette,
Exactly.
right? And maybe switch Lacazette on the left side
Yeah.
because Aubameyang is ruthless in front of goal. He is not a
Mm.
player who's supposed to be playing as a winger, and
Yeah.
his stats reflect that. His stats say that he's completely transitioned into a winger.
Mm. Yeah.
If you look at the expected goals chart, right, he is 40th or 41st.
Yeah. Which is
That's an
bizarre.
insane stat. That's
Yeah.
that's that's a horrible stat for somebody of the caliber of Aubameyang.
Exactly. Like
I
he
just,
put.
I just hope I mean, Arteta thinks over his position at least because I really like Aubameyang.
Yeah. Because Arsenal, if you look at it this season, they have been good at the back, but at the same time, they have been so poor when it comes to
Yeah,
going forward. And one of the
exactly,
reason is
exactly.
because Aubameyang is not firing in full cylinder, and he's kind of
Yep.
been handicapped because of the tactics that Arteta is using in the team. So
Good,
yeah,
good.
it's kind of sad to see Obama not
But
play to his full
but
potential.
it's only this season,
Yeah.
right? He's been so I think this is his third or fourth season.
Yeah.
All his previous seasons, he's been brilliant for Arsenal.
Mm.
He's
Yeah.
been their best player
Yeah.
easily. Only this season, I don't know. So it's clearly the tactics, change in tactics.
Exactly. And Lacazette is sometimes so wasteful when it comes to playing down the middle. Like sometimes
Yeah.
he gets some really good chances, but he doesn't score the goals,
Yes, yes,
which is so
yes.
frustrating to
But
see when you're
he
Arsenal
plays
fan.
an important role to the Arsenal system.
Yeah. True.
Because he drops back a lot deeper and he links up play.
Mm.
He sort of shields those lines between defense and the midfield.
Yeah.
So I mean attack and midfield, sorry,
Hmm.
and he does all of that link up play. But when you're a striker, when that is your natural role, you're expected to convert and score goals,
Exactly.
which he's not doing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
True. Yeah.
Aston Villa looks good
Yeah.
defensively.
For sure.
This game they were pretty good defensively. Last game against Southampton, they conceded 4 goals, yes, but those 4 goals were world-class goals. Two of
Yeah.
them were free kicks. One of them was a worldie by Danny Ings,
Yeah.
which you can't do
Hmm.
anything about. So they are pretty good defensively. So FPL managers might want to invest in Aston Villa defenders.
Yeah. True. And
And their
with
goalkeeper is a world-class goalkeeper, dude. Emi
mm,
Martinez. I don't
yeah.
understand why Arsenal let him go.
I mean, they had Bird Leonard too. I mean, he's a pretty good goalkeeper as well. So you can't.
Dude, but Emi Martinez easily is one of the best goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Yeah, but it's like the same situation that you have with United. We have De Gea and Henderson,
Yeah,
which
correct,
is
correct.
it's kind of unfair for the other player as well. Like you making him sit, bench him, and not giving game time. So I feel like yeah, it's good that he went to Aston Villa, and they're actually playing pretty well as well.
Yep.
So yeah, so with that, we'll finish up with the last game that I want to talk about, and that is Crystal Palace versus Leeds, where Leeds lost 4-1.
Oh man. Again,
4-1.
I have mentioned this in I think in the last couple of episodes as well.
Yeah,
Leeds are just so unpredictable to draw a conclusion, like to pin a
yeah,
conclusion on them.
yeah.
Sometimes they're damn good defensively. Sometimes they are just ridiculous defensively, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Yeah,
I don't understand what is their tactics now.
yeah.
It's just not showing. But
It's
I'm
kind,
sure Bielsa will come back.
and I feel like you kind of see like the slowly the fatigue and the no the
Yeah,
pressure of the season, kind of
murder
creeping
ball
in.
tactics.
Yeah, yeah, the kind of
Yes.
creeping in into Leeds, especially
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
COVID going on right now. It's kind of difficult for players to be in the top physical shape,
Yeah.
and
And their most important player also is out, right? Calvin Phillips
exactly,
is out.
exactly, exactly.
So that fulcrum in the midfield is not there
Yeah, yeah, true, true, true,
to
true.
sort of break all the attacks. He is the main guy for that.
Yeah, true, true, very true.
So
So
that
that's
is not
why.
there.
So you kind of see a little bit, and also I think even Click is injured out as well.
Yeah, he
Is
played
Click,
the last game.
is
I
Click
know
out
that.
as well? No, no, no. Click is playing. Okay, okay. I think I might be thinking about someone else. So yeah, but again, like you kind of see slowly, the wheels falling off, just like how what happened in the championship as well. It's
Mm,
it's the latter part of the season or in the middle of the season where you truly see whether Leeds can properly pull through and get
mm.
something for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, but again, like Crystal Palace
And
played really well.
yeah, and Leeds, right? If
Yeah,
Bielsa doesn't stay, they are definitely getting relegated.
they're gone. That's
If
it. They're gone. Yeah,
Bielsa
for
leaves
sure.
the team,
Yeah,
if Bielsa leaves the team, Leeds are pretty much any other championship team.
yeah. Because when you think about it, they without Bielsa, when you look at the team, they are actually not Premier League team. When you look about it, like maybe like the top
Yeah,
about the bottom half
I
of the
agree.
team. Yeah,
I agree
but
with you
yeah,
because go ahead, finish.
yeah, maybe the bottom half of the team. But other than that, I mean, if it's any other manager, I don't think any other manager could bring them to where Leeds right now are in the Premier League.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Because I mean, the season where what's his face, Bielsa joined, the
Hmm.
season before that, Leeds finished 14th or 15th in the
Yeah.
championship,
Yeah.
despite being such a high-profile club. Right? They
Mm.
were struggling so bad,
Exactly.
and the moment Bielsa took over the reins, they actually looked like they are going to win the championship.
Mm.
They for the end, I think for the first 6 or 8 months, they were top of the league.
Mm.
Then they
Yeah.
slipped further to third place, and they had to play the playoffs and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And in the
Exactly.
second season, they went on to win the league, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's clearly Bielsa's impact.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Obviously, credit has to go to players, but it's mostly Bielsa's genius that
Yeah.
has seen Leeds break that barrier and come back into Premier League.
And I
So
feel
if
like
Bielsa doesn't stay with them, they are screwed.
yeah, and I feel like for Leeds to properly challenge, like maybe like Leicester to challenge for the top six teams, still feel like they still need investments into the team because some of the
Yeah,
players in
yeah.
some positions are not good enough.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That they'll do. I'm sure they'll do because they have a very good owner, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Who's passionate about the club as well, so
Yeah,
that's
he's
good.
very passionate about
Yeah. When I see that, I
Cholo,
feel so
cholo.
bad. I'm like, why can't my club have that?
Yes.
Yeah. So moving on with that, I have some news regarding some of the clubs and some of the players. So right now, as I don't know, we actually spoke about this in the last podcast. We are actually monitoring Pochettino right now.
Yeah, this I know. Pochettino
Yeah,
and Nagelsmann both.
Nagelsmann.
We
Yeah,
are very interested. I mean, I read somewhere that the United management really likes Nagelsmann's style, and
yeah,
they are planning to get him if Pochettino doesn't work out.
exactly. And Pochettino is being monitored by Man City, PSG, and another club as well. I don't know.
Real
I
Madrid.
think Real Madrid. Yeah, exactly. So, like the chances of getting Pochettino, if Guardiola doesn't get a contract and Tuchel doesn't get a contract, then I don't think we are gonna get Pochettino for sure. But other than that, I would say like the board still has a lot of trust in Ole, it seems, and they feel
Yeah,
like he's still the guy for being the manager of the of United. But again, like the way he's playing right now, the inconsistencies on the pitch and at the same time offside or off pitch controversies, like this is not the kind of manager that I mean United should have.
mm,
Yeah, because
correct. I agree.
because we are not even going forward or backward. We're just in the middle.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's kind of yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think it's that Man United bias that I will still kind of feel bad if he gets sacked
Yeah, yeah.
because I don't know, that sentiment is there, right?
Yeah, that's why this is why I believe one of the main reason this is why I believe that why club legends or players who have played for the club should not be
Yeah,
given the
yeah.
manager role.
It should not happen at all, man. Because
Yeah,
just imagine somebody like Scholes coming back to manage the team,
yeah,
and you have a horrendous run under him.
hmm.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Don't even
Yeah,
want to imagine.
exactly. So that's why, like, just stay out of the club. Let's get to some other managers or some other players. Maybe you can go to other clubs, not your own clubs, but
Yeah.
don't become the manager of your own club. Yeah, because yeah, if you don't play well,
And that too without any experience, man.
yeah,
Like any significant, reasonable experience.
exactly,
Like your
exactly.
CV is blank,
Yeah,
and suddenly you're given the best project
yeah.
and asked to execute all your skills.
Yeah, that's what's going with the United and with Chelsea as well, right? They have the same
With
problem too.
Lamps, with Lamps, and with this guy also, Oli, and even Ryan Giggs when he was before he became the manager of Wales,
Yeah,
he wanted to be United's main manager. And United board was
exactly.
like, "Fuck off, we are not
Yeah.
giving you."
But then we gave it to Olive, when you look at his CV, it's pathetic compared
Hmm.
to to manage one of the biggest club in the world. His CV is pathetic. Like you could give the role to someone like Nuno or maybe even the Aston Villa manager. I mean, compared to Ole, when you look at the just by CV itself. So it's
Yep.
it's like that's why don't employ a club legend or a club player
Hmm.
because yeah, you're
I
gonna
mean,
be
if
in
you
hot
look at
waters.
Juventus for now, even they are not doing pretty well under Pirlo.
Yeah.
Like they are inconsistent, just like how United
And
is.
even
They are winning games, they are losing
Zidane
games.
with Real Madrid as well.
But Zidane's won them 3 Champions
But
League, so you
but that's
can't
because of the
complain.
team. I really believe it's because of the team. I don't
Yeah,
believe it's because
that
of
is there.
Zidane.
But still, on paper, he was still the
Yeah, yeah,
manager. So
exactly. True,
obviously,
true, true.
people
Yeah.
who don't understand football will credit him only.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. That's what a lot of people say about Pep when he was in Barcelona as well, right? Like he had the one of the
Oh,
best team in the world.
I still believe it's Pep.
Yeah,
I
no, no,
still
yeah,
believe
but
it's
now
Pep.
we know it's Pep. Now we know it's Pep. But
Hmm.
the thing about Pep is, if you don't give him the proper resources, he's not gonna perform. The only
He'll
way,
only manage that top two teams,
yeah, exactly.
right? He
Yeah,
can't do a Bielsa.
yeah, true,
He'll
true,
never
true,
do a Bielsa, even if
true.
he can.
Yeah, he can't be a Bielsa, he can't be a Alex Ferguson, he can't be a Jurgen Klopp. He's his own kind of thing, like where he needs to have the proper resources, he needs to have the right players, and he needs like the proper backing from the board. Then he can do his own thing.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
other than that, if there is one
but an
hitch,
absolute genius, but
yeah,
an
true, true,
absolute
true.
mental
Yeah, yeah,
coach.
yeah, 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 true, true.
No
Yeah,
denying that.
yeah. There's no denying that. But every conditions around him has to be perfect for him to perform.
Yeah,
If
right.
not,
I mean,
he's
that's exactly what he is. He's a perfectionist. He is
yeah.
so obsessed about the games. He's almost like it's there's a reason why he is such an ardent follower of Bielsa.
Mm,
He obsesses things about football
yeah,
in his
true.
mind.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah, there is one
what
thing
other
that
news do you have?
there is one thing that I want to talk about. Want to talk about, Seven, and that is Ronaldo is actually being tempted by United.
Yes,
Yeah,
I read this. I read
yeah.
this.
What do you think about
I
it?
read about it. Uh, I think it'll be. I think he could be a Zlatan 2.0,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I still feel that there is still some years left in him.
Yeah, because he's
So
still
I think now
playing
is the
well
time.
in Syria, right?
Yeah, he's still playing at the top of his powers,
Yeah,
at the peak of
exactly.
his powers.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the move happens next season.
Mm-hmm.
And why wouldn't he want to come back?
Yeah,
Every single
exactly.
soul at Manchester loves him.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't want to have him back?
exactly.
But again, I don't know where how it'll pan out with Cavani now, leading the front line.
Yeah.
There are superb young players which we have in the front.
I
I don't
mean,
know. Maybe I don't know.
With Cavani, it's a short-term signing. Even the board knows it. That's why we are actually
Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
after really hard for Haaland, right? We are ramping
Hmm.
up the move. Like we have actually kind of forgotten about Sancho, and now we are going like properly going after Haaland. Like
Yes,
everywhere you
and
see, it's all Haaland United, Haaland United.
exactly. And this also seems like a very carefully curated business decision,
Yeah,
right? So you have these years of fuck up,
yeah.
okay, where you've clearly upset fans.
Mm,
There you've converted a lot of fans into now non fans and enemies of the club.
yeah.
Who troll the club and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You bring in Ronaldo, you completely eliminate this problem,
Oh yeah, for sure. All those
right?
fans
No,
will run back into the club.
everybody is going to forget about whatever problems, whatever existing problems we have, and people
Exactly.
will. I won't be surprised if people will start rooting back for the Glazers.
Yeah, true, very true. Yeah,
So
correct.
seems like I mean, United will still make a lot of money
Oh,
only through the short sales of Ronaldo
social
if they
media,
get him back.
all that shit is gonna be up for them.
Oh, Man United social media is already one horrible thing.
Yeah,
It'll go even crazy once Ronaldo comes back.
yeah, true, true, very true,
I
very
can
true.
already imagine the kind of marketing campaigns that they'll do.
Oh my God. And fans are mostly gonna forget about all the fuck up that Glazers do. Like all
Everything.
the, like
They'll
especially
forget about all the miseries.
yeah, especially the fans who have not like properly been watched this Alex Ferguson, like what he did, and like the recent fans, they're gonna
Hmm.
forget about what's going on with the Glazers, and they're gonna be like like all in with United, and with Ronaldo and all stuff like that. So it's like a
Yeah.
proper like a propaganda kind of move by Glazers, distracting the
Yeah.
masses. So it's gonna be fun to
Yeah.
watch if it's gonna happen because I mean, in every transfer window since he has left, there have been rumors that he's gonna come back, he's gonna come back, he's gonna come back. But now
Yep.
you never
Yep.
know because in Juventus, I don't feel like he's being like properly, uh, you could say, championed by
Hmm.
Syria or even by the team as well.
Hmm.
And I feel like with Pirlo, I don't think like there has been some conflict going on between him and Pirlo as well, where there are
Okay.
reports that Pirlo kind of doesn't like the attitude that Ronaldo brings into the team, and he
I mean,
actually, yeah,
it's pretty much everywhere Ronaldo goes.
exactly,
Not about the attitude. Ronaldo goes and inherits that team.
yeah,
It doesn't matter who the manager is, who the owner is.
yeah,
Ronaldo is the boss.
yeah, exactly,
It's Ronaldo is the manager who plays in the UA uniform. That's all,
yeah,
in the UA
exactly,
jersey.
yeah,
That's all. And if Ole is going to still manage at that time, if Ronaldo makes it back to United, do you think he will listen to Ole? I don't
exactly,
think so.
yeah.
He,
That's why,
he will manage the team. He will manage the team on the field. Hey,
yeah,
you go there, and he'll play along also. That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
it is going to be.
And just to finish off, Stephen, I want to ask you this question: if Ole gets sacked, okay, who do you want the manager of United to be?
Poch, no
Not
doubt about it.
Nagelsmann?
Not Nagelsmann, because of the only factor that Poch has certified Premier League experience.
Okay, okay. Because when you think about Poch, he doesn't play the United way, where we have, I mean, we have traditionally been recognized for having wingers and then, going forward. Poch doesn't like to play like that, but
But
Nagelsmann
Poch
does.
did play some fantastic attacking football
Yeah.
that led Tottenham to the finals of Champions League. Right? It's
Hmm.
only towards the fag end of his Tottenham stint that he screwed up,
Yeah.
which I think happens to every manager at least in 1 or 2 seasons.
True, true, true.
So I think I can forfeit that side of the, I can discount that factor,
Uh-huh.
and I would still want to see Poch. And Poch is a brilliant tactician, dude. He's a pretty good manager.
And also
He's a very
when you said he actually brought Tottenham all the way into the Champions League final, and I mean he made them so good in the Premier League. That reminded me of the fact that a lot of Ole apologists, whenever anyone brings up the fact that Poch should become the manager, they always say that, oh, that guy hasn't won anything. But dude, like
Hmm.
when you look at on this side, Ole hasn't done shit either. Like he is actually much worse down the ladder compared to someone
Yes.
like Pochettino. And yeah, that's weird. But I'm actually excited about Nagelsmann too because when you look at it,
Yeah.
his playstyle is more attacking, more pressing, more like Jurgen Klopp, but a little bit
Hmm.
more tweaked.
But again, see, I'll give you my theory on that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can manage someone like Hoffenheim because that's nobody cares about that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. It is not a very big club. He brought that club from obscurity to some level of fame and name and fame.
Yeah.
Okay, and he managed Leipzig. Leipzig is relatively a newer team, so not many people knew about it,
Yeah.
right? But when you're coming to United, when you're inheriting a team United, you're inheriting a team full of superstars with
Yeah.
full of massive ego, right? And you are a manager who's only 33 years old. Cavani, Mata, players who are still playing on the field are much older than you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they will curb their ego and they will listen to you? I don't
That is
think so.
that is actually one of the main reason why I actually am excited to come in because when you look at his, I mean, the rise to being the manager of Leipzig, every single person who has met him tell that he's one of the most charismatic people that they have ever met.
Hmm.
Like the way he
Okay.
talks to them, the way he makes them understand, even the players. Like that is one of the main reason why he got the role of being the Leipzig manager for such an engage. Because even in the youth setup, the way he communicated with the players, even though they had egos, doesn't even matter. He like when he enters the room, there's like an aura that comes into that room as well. And I mean, even the players feel it, even anyone in the room feels it. And when it comes to, like, obviously Poch has a lot of technical astute
Know-how.
when it comes to playing the game. But when it comes to Nagelsmann, of course, tactically he's pretty good as well. He has his own type of football, which is kind of similar to the early days that Klopp played when he was in Dortmund. Like, he was completely rushing the other team and trying to score a goal. That's what kind of like how Nagelsmann plays. But at the same time, he has this personality that every single person talks about. I think I came across this on T4 Football, where they were talking about how the rise of Nagelsmann was when he was in his youth setup. I mean, coaching wise, when he was in youth setup, and then how he became the Leipzig manager in such a young age. And the way that they described, like, how his man management is like one of the best. The way that he manages people, like not just the coaching staff, but also like from the owners all the way to down to the players, and also like the groundsmen and the cleaning, I mean, your lunch lady, all those people. He's like one of the most charismatic managers right now in Europe. So I feel like if he comes to United, maybe he could be the ideal man to properly manage the Glazers and also the players at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be possible, but I still highly suspect that because of the sheer scale United operates at, right? It's full of superstars. It's full of egotistical, maniacal minds who control the helm of affairs and all of this stuff. So I'm not sure if what's his face, Nagelsmann can work out of that way by just charming, but by just being charming and all that. Could be possible,
Yeah.
but again, I still feel he's too young to manage a side like United. But hey, I never want to rule that possibility out. I would love to see Nagelsmann at United, but not at the expense of Poch, who has certified experience in Premier League. He's managed Southampton, and he's done really well at Southampton. And then that's why he got the job at Tottenham. And Tottenham is on the map because of Pochettino, in my opinion. Poch and Harry Kane.
And
otherwise,
also,
nobody would have known otherwise, nobody. I don't think Tottenham would have been so famous.
Yeah, and also one of the main reasons why I would want Nagelsmann in as the United manager would be because if he comes to United, United will have the most one of the, you could say, the most stylish manager ever in the game of football,
and probably the youngest team in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
He is also known to promote a lot of youngsters in his squads.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
So
we can
I'm
get rid of all
I'm
the
just
deadwood.
excited of the outfits that he's gonna wear in every matches, especially the one that
man,
he wore in the Champions League
he's so
against
cool.
us.
He's so cool.
Yo,
What a
it was
well-dressed
amazing.
man he is.
Yeah, amazing. It is so fun to watch him dress. Yeah, all the outfits
But in
that he
my
wears.
opinion, nobody is as well-dressed as Pep. Pep is like a fashion icon for me. He is so minimalist but so elegant and classy in his dressing.
I would say I would actually put Nagelsmann above. Like, he tries so many different things.
Oh,
like
I
the
love Pep's
zebra
dressing
pattern that he wore in the Champions League against us. He's like the Milan.
Ranveer Singh. He's like the Ranveer Singh of football.
He's like the Milan runway model of the footballing world. Tries different shit and all that. So yeah.
Or you could just tell he's the Ranveer Singh of footballing managers.
True. Yeah. Actually, yeah, it would be very nice to watch, to see him come down the touchline, wearing his bizarre sometimes,
mind
or
you,
sometimes
it's also
good
a
outfit.
strategy.
Yeah.
It's also a strategy to distract the opposition.
Exactly.
Hey, who's that guy, man? He looks like a zebra.
Exactly.
And then the ball is dispossessed.
Yeah.
And then you're dispossessed and
they would think that they're in a traffic signal or something like that. So they would stop dribbling forward, and then we could take the ball and score. So yeah, like there are some tactics in there as well. So you never know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So I think that's it. That's all we had to talk about. We'll be back next week. There are no games next week, right? I think they're still on an international break.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring in some abstract topic to talk about. We'll think about it, and we'll
see.
Yeah, we'll have an episode for you guys in the next week. And that's it for this video.
Guys, we are available on Spotify. We are available on Google Podcasts and all the other podcast platforms.
Yeah.
Please do listen to us there. If you don't want to engage on the YouTube platform, you don't want to engage all your senses in consuming this video, you can just listen to it on one of the podcasting platforms.
Exactly. So with that,
give us a listen over there.
Yeah. So give us a listen, and also if you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. And
all of that jazz.
That we will see you in the next one. See ya.